Hey, we were in class. I was in band at the time, and the classroom phone rang. And the teacher went and he answered the phone. He got really serious. He got this really concerned, shocked look on his face, and he hung it up and he turned to us and he said, "Everybody sit down, be quiet. The bell's going to ring in a couple minutes. You're going to stay seated." And then he went over to the doors and he locked them. And we were just like, oh shit, what is happening? And at first some of us were like, well, is it a bomb threat? Because we used to get bomb threats all the time, but then we realized that doesn't make sense because when we get a bomb threat, they evacuate us. And then we're like, is there some type of killer in the school? Is there weather alert? Is there a terrorist attack? And none of us knew anything. The teacher wouldn't answer any questions. He was told not to. And the bell rang. We all stayed seated and we sat there for a really, really long time. And then the next bell rang, which means a whole other class period had passed. And still he said, "Stay seated." And I can't tell you how long we were trapped in this room and nobody was telling us what was going on. We're all getting really scared and panicking because we had never had a situation like this, and we had practiced so many drills, so many, if there's a bomb, we all go to the band lot. If there's a tornado, I'll go to the basement. If there's a fire, we take these exits on this side. We always had a plan, and this was just something that we had never planned, and nobody was telling us anything. So eventually, they're texting their parents and calling their parents, and they're saying, "Do you know anything about this?" And the parents are all freaking out, and now it's like an ordeal. Some of the parents started listening to the police scanners, and it was getting back to us that there were ambulances outside of our school, and we're just like, and at this point, a lot of us are panicking because we think there's some type of shooter or something, because that makes sense. Okay, the doors are locked. They're telling us to be quiet. They're telling us not to move. They're telling us not to leave. There's ambulances outside. And finally, they just opened the doors and let us go. And they wouldn't tell us anything still. So we're just like, okay, we just sat in this classroom for like hours. There's ambulances outside of our school, and you're just gonna room for like hours. There's ambulances outside of our school, and you're just gonna let us go to our next class? So you can probably tell by the title of this video what happened. A girl died in class during school hours. And here's the story on that. So earlier in that day, around like first, second period, somebody sold her a bunch of Oxycontins. She, during school, took all of them. She ended up going to her 7th period class at 3rd period, and she walked in and the teacher was like, "Honey, what are you doing here?" And she said, "Oh, I'm here for class." And the teacher was like, "You're not here until later, honey. It's only 3rd period." And I wasn't here for this, but supposedly when she walked away, she said to somebody else, "Oh, she's on something, or she's drunk or something." But it was obvious that she was on something. So she went a couple classes later and she put her head down on the desk. She was sleeping, and she was just kind of one of those students who, you know, showed up late and slept in class. Obviously didn't show a ton of interest in her. He was an amazing teacher. He was a caring teacher, but he didn't wake her up. For I don't know what reason it was. I don't know if he just thought, you know, you can only try so hard to make somebody interested in class. I don't know if he figured, you know what, she could really use the sleep, just let her nap. But that class was over and the bell rang and everybody got up, but she stayed seated, laying on her desk like this with her head down, and she wasn't getting up. So somebody who was sitting next to her nudged her and was like, "Hey, wake up, class is over." And she didn't move, and then she nudged her a little harder to wake her up, and that is when her arm fell completely limp to the side of the desk. So obviously at this point, people start panicking. They roll her over and she is completely blue. I don't know how long she was out. I don't know how long she wasn't breathing, but she had completely OD'd and had not been receiving oxygen for enough time to turn her blue. That is when the ambulances were called. That is when the school was put on lockdown. She was taken out, obviously, and she died that day.
So in 4th grade, I moved to a new school. And it's a pretty nice school. I'm friends with some people, whatever. Well, we have a substitute coming on a Friday. And on Fridays, everybody gets popcorn at our school. So we're all in class eating our popcorn when the substitute comes up to this girl we'll call Taylor. So the substitute kind of just stands over her and watches her eat her popcorn. And then she goes, "You shouldn't eat that, you're a pig." And she started crying. So she gets up to the front of the classroom and she's like talking about how much we should be eating, practically body shaming a bunch of 4th graders. And she keeps going up to this girl Taylor and just freaking like calling her a pig, calling her nasty, like literally coming for her. And then I think she dropped some on the floor and like, dude, the teacher went off on her. Eventually, she got so mad she grabbed a desk and flipped it over. So Taylor was obviously crying for the rest of the day because his teacher was literally body shaming her. So the following Monday when the teacher comes, we all tell her what happened. And that sub got fired like that.
Story time about how my mom made me shave my hair off. So a little background information, I was 13 years old and in 7th grade, and I had just moved to a new school this year because my grandma was really sick and my family and I needed to take care of her. And for like the first 2 months, I had a big problem making friends. Until I met my best friends, Ashley and Nicole. Ashley was super sweet and Nicole was kind of, and I was in between, so we kind of all balanced each other out. But fast forward to later on in the year, we met this one girl named Kelly. And I'm not gonna lie, she was super nice but really annoying. She would always try to talk to us, always try to hang out with us. She was literally stuck 24/7. And the one day Ashley convinced Nicole and I to have a sleepover with Kelly and her. So we say yes, and Nicole, Ashley, and I are all texting in the group chat. Nicole goes, well, I'm not going to promise that I'm going to be nice to her. And she actually said that we were going to play a prank on her. And that's when Ashley bailed because she didn't want to be a part of it. Like for part two. Part 2 about why my mom made me shave my hair off. So like I said, Ashley bailed because she did not want to be a part of Nicole's evil plan to bully this girl. So fast forward, Nicole and I go over to Kelly's house and I start to feel really bad because Kelly's actually super nice and she wasn't as weird as I thought she was. Fast forward, Kelly's sleeping and Nicole comes over to me and she's like, hey, come to the bathroom with me. So I get up and I go to the bathroom and Nicole pulls out Nair. And I asked her what the hell she's gonna do with that. She was like, oh, I've seen some people do pranks on YouTube. You know, they put it in somebody's shampoo bottle and then it makes them lose their hair. So since I'm the only one who thinks logically, I'm like, Nicole, you cannot do that. And she's like, oh, don't be such a baby. That doesn't even work anyways. All the videos that I watched, people only lost like 4 strands of hair, which made no sense because why the f are we gonna do it then? Anyways, fast forward, I go to sleep. I wake up in the morning and my mom comes to get me. Like for part 3. Part 3 about why my mom made me shave my hair off. So, like I said, Nicole put the Nair in her shampoo. And I went to sleep. I decided I was not going to be a part of this little plan. And I wake up in the morning. My mom comes and picks me up. And Ashley's texting me saying, hey, was Nicole nice to Kelly? And I told her about what she did. And Ashley was like, oh my god, that's so up, like, I'm gonna tell Kelly. And I was like, yeah, I was gonna tell her, but I don't want to get Nicole in trouble. So fast forward to dinner time, my mom gets a call from Kelly's mom. And she was like, Kelly took a shower earlier, she's losing her hair. And Nicole texted Kelly saying that your daughter's the one who put in my daughter's shampoo. So my mom's like, well, how do you know it was my daughter? And she was like, Nicole also said that she saw the Nair bottle in your daughter's backpack. So my mom runs up to my room, she finds the Nair bottle in my stuff, which obviously Nicole put there. But my mom wouldn't listen to me, so eventually she sat me down in the kitchen and shaved my hair.
One time we had a show and tell. I brought some of my squishies because they were popular. Slime and squishies were both popular that year. I brought my rarest and most expensive squishies because I was dedicated to win the show and tell. The teacher said that whoever brought the best item, they would win something out of the prize box. These were bringing the most basic boring shit ever, like this one kid named Chattanooga who brought these ugly crusty ass rocks they said were found on the moon. I've seen that rock in my front yard, so shut the fuck up. This other kid brought their stained white Crocs. What the fuck is so special about those dusty ancient moldy off-brand athlete's foot Dunkeroy monkey cock-a-stain offensive Crocs? When they took their croc off their foot I could smell it from the back of the class. It smelled funky, Dunkeroy, hunkeroy, crunky, chunky, smelly, New Delhi, pork belly. Then they called me and it was my time to shine. I took out each and every one of my squishies and people started to laugh. I grabbed my real Kuma squishy and all of my other ones and started yonky bonkying everyone. I knocked Smelly Kelly's front tooth out. I snatched Squash and Natasha's weave out her head and I ripped out Fat Pat's fake eyelashes. I was sent to detention and threw my extra